Okay, excuse me, guys.
Might have to hold the mic maybe.
Yeah. Hello, hello. Ooh, that's better. All right. Hi, guys. My name's Jamie. I'm going to be doing the automated testing workshop today. So let's get started. So, what is the problem with just manually testing, trying it out yourself? Well, the first thing, it's tedious. You have to do it over and over again every time you make a change. The scenarios can be hard to repeat when you have special network issues, the database randomly crashes, things that depend on the state of the backend. Also, it can be growing number of scenarios as the project goes on and on. And there's more to test, and that takes up a lot of time. So, in order to solve that, we automate it. So, why bother with testing in the first place? So, it can be important for a number of fields, such as control systems for power plants. If there's a bug that could lead to a meltdown, that's not going to look impressive at all. Healthcare, of course, people's lives are at stake, so we need to make sure there is no issues ahead of time before releasing a new patch. Same with transportation, and also less serious scenarios, so your daily life, office work can be really annoying, having crashes or other sort of bugs getting in the way. And so software is quite fragile. It's just small changes to the code can have drastic effects. Automated testing can help us pick up these problems really quickly after each change. And for commercial software, we can have what do you call it? It can lose consumer confidence when we're building professional software. This can have effects on the stocks. So if our software gets a reputation as being quite buggy, people stop buying it, and that's not going to be good for the business. That can lead to a bit of embarrassment, disruptions, and just other frustrations. And of course, especially in the cases of healthcare and transport, there is the risk of death, because if, say, you're developing software for a train and you have a bug in the braking system, that's not going to be good. So, with automated testing, so when we try to manually test, we often have to set up the environment, pull the branch we're trying to test, install dependencies, and such. And then manually go through each step, check to see what's expected. If there's a mistake, you'll often have to repeat the entire thing. And of course, if there's a change while you're testing, you'll have to start over again. With automated testing, this is not so much of a problem, because testing will take seconds. So, how does automated testing work? Well, you write a script for a testing framework or other application to run those steps automatically rather than having to do them yourself. an example here is, let's see what we got. Right, so they've got a, here we've got a GitHub Actions script which runs, in this case, every time a pull request is done, to just run linters and style checkers to pick up issues automatically without having to get someone to pull the branch, manually run the linting program, and then apply the changes. In addition to automated testing, there is also a software development methodology associated with it called test-driven development, which runs off the philosophy that we should write tests before we write the actual code, because the test will double as a formal specification, so you know you're actually writing what you need. Yeah. Firebase has a nice, Fireship has a nice explanation here, which we'll just run through. Oh, sorry. Need to run the audio through.
Engineering something easy like a bridge, where you start with a blueprint, build it to spec.
I don't think that's running through the system. Hang on. Sorry.
Just put your mic.
Then forget about it. Software is dynamic, with a lot of moving parts and requirements that evolve over time. Developers build apps on top of a mountain of abstractions, and nobody fully understands how every layer works. That's okay, because we just need to make sure that our code matches the requirements of the product. Test-driven development is scientifically proven to reduce defects and improve the maintainability of a code base, but it does require some additional effort. One option is manual testing, where a human being clicks on every button and fills out every form, then assigns a bunch of Jira tickets so they can be backlogged by the developers. But that's not very efficient for a large-scale product. A better approach is to use automated testing tools that allow developers to write code for the sole purpose of testing the main application code. In a codebase, you'll often find files that end in .test or .spec. Inside, you'll first find a line of code that describes the feature or thing that's being tested. That's known as a test suite, and it contains one or more individual tests. An individual test usually starts with it, followed by a description of what is being tested. The idea is to describe the behavior of the code in human-readable terms. Inside the test, the code will be executed, then one or more expectations or assertions are used to check that the code produces the expected result. If the expectation returns false, then the test fails. If it's true, it passes. Test runners, like Jest or Karma, can run all your tests automatically in the background or on a continuous integration server before you deploy. Now, there are many different automated testing strategies that you should be aware of. At the most granular level, we have unit testing, which is designed to test individual functions or methods, like does this function return the proper value when given the arguments of A and B. Then we have integration testing to determine how well different components or modules work together, like is the component able to use the database service to get data from the server. At the highest level, we have end-to-end testing, which usually happens in a mock browser or device and simulates actual user behaviors like clicking on buttons and filling out forms. It's like having a robot to do all your manual testing for you. And that's not all. There are many other types like performance and smoke testing, which I'll explain in my upcoming test-driven development breakdown. Hit the like button if you want to see more short videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Hey, that's a good summary. So here's a quick example of a test. So in test-driven development, we've decided that we've needed a function that adds two numbers. So the first thing we do is we create a test for a future function we're going to write called add two numbers. Give it a simple case, in this case 1 plus 2, and assert it gives out 3. Then we run that the first time to see whether it fails correctly, because tests can also have bugs, just like the actual code we write. And so to confirm, to quickly check for some common bugs, we run it the first time to see whether it's functioning correctly. Then, after that, we write our actual code and then run the test again to see whether the test confirms the function does what we want. Here's a little less trivial example. So, let's see here. Yeah. So as we see here, we have a lot of, got an email system, which manually would be an absolute nightmare to set up and test every time. But here we can use Python and Django's framework to automatically set this up and do the test for us. So we can see here, yeah, we'd have to prepare the database, all that. A common structure of the tests is given, when, then. So given is the preconditions of what the test would need. So if we had, say, in our previous trivial example of an add thing, given there are two numbers inputted, when we call the function with those two numbers, then the sum of those numbers are returned. A common place to run these automated tests is on our repo. So like we might run them on our pull requests or every time we push. This can help ensure, especially when we're doing it on our branches, that everything we merge doesn't have any issues. They'll end up in the deployed main. This is the idea of sort of constant integration and constant deployment that we are continually adding to the main code base. Once again, Fireship has gone into a little bit more depth here, and we'll display his video.
DevOps, a set of practices to build, test, and release your code in small, frequent steps. One of the core practices of DevOps is continuous integration, which has developers commit their code to a shared repository, often on a daily basis. Each commit triggers an automated workflow on a CI server that can notify developers of any issues integrating their changes. When a repo evolves in small steps like this, it prevents what's known as merge hell. Imagine Mary, your backend developer, builds a new API for your product. Shortly after, Jane, your front-end developer, starts work on a new UI. A few months later, when it comes time to merge their features, we find that they're completely incompatible, the build fails, and we now have to spend a bunch of time and money resolving these conflicts. Let's go ahead and build a continuous integration pipeline now to see how it prevents issues like this. Here on GitHub, I have a Node.js web app. In order to deliver this app to my customers, I need to run 3 commands: test, build, and deploy. I can automate this entire process in the cloud by using a CI service like GitHub Actions. First, I create a workflow, and then I tell it to run on every push to the master branch. The event triggers a job that runs on a Linux container in the cloud. Then we tell the container what to do as a series of steps. First, it checks out the code in this GitHub repo, then sets up Node.js, installs my dependencies, and runs my test, build, and deploy commands. Now, anytime we commit code to the master branch in this repo, it will run this workflow. If any of the steps fail, the bad software won't be delivered to our customers and will automatically know there's an issue that needs to be addressed. At the end of the day, CI/CD offers 2 main benefits. It helps you automate things that would otherwise have to be done manually by developers. That will increase your velocity, but it also detects small problems early before they can grow into major disasters, and that results in higher code quality. This has been CI/CD, or DevOps, in 100 seconds. Make sure to hit the like button if you want to see more short videos like this, and stay tuned tomorrow for a full DevOps project using GitHub.
So yeah, that's the gist of it. And so one of the benefits of doing this is, of course, as we pick up bugs before they come in, this results in less issues to work on, increasing what they call in Agile your velocity. So you get more done, you're more efficient, and yeah, it just creates a better product in the end. And I think I'll just wrap up here. Thank you for listening.